Hello everyone, welcome to Vishnu IAS Academy. I'm Akhil Rajatnam. So hope you all had a very wonderful prelims examination. Now you all might be waiting for your mains examination irrespective of your results. So people are predicting the cutoffs only. So obviously anyway you'll have to prepare for your mains examination. So for your mains examination, very important thing is PYQ. Previous year question. Obviously the syllabus is also very much important. So for writing your mains examination, one is your syllabus. You need to understand your syllabus word by word. Another one is obviously you have to look at the PYQ, previous year questions, which are asked from, at least you have to take from 2013 till 2024. And obviously another very important thing is your answer writing. Answer writing. So these are the three important things which you should not miss while writing, while preparing for your mains examination. Okay, so anyway, in this session what we'll be doing, we will be discussing the syllabus, how you have to prepare for your history session, that we'll be discussing, and also we'll be discussing one or two previous year questions also, we'll be discussing this, and obviously this will definitely help you for your answer writing also. Okay, all right, so syllabus, previous year question, as well as answer writing. Okay, so these are the three important things which you have to keep in your mind while preparing for your mains examination. Okay. Alright, so this is actually the syllabus which I have taken from the UPSC site itself. So you all know that history is coming in the paper 2. Paper 2, general studies 1, paper 1 is essay. So paper 2 is general studies 1. So other than history, we have geography also there, and also society is also there in this paper 2. Paper 2, general studies 1. Okay, alright, so history, we can actually divide history into Indian heritage and culture, and another one is history. So here we have the modern history will be there. Modern history will be there. We have the world history will be there, and also we have the post-independent history will also be there. Okay, so these are the areas. One is the Indian heritage and culture. So basically this is art and culture only. This is art and culture. Okay. Other than that, we have modern history as well as world history, and also the post-independent history is also there. Okay. So we'll decode this. What all things you have to study in this, and how you have to prepare for this. All these topics separately. Okay. So that will be discussed. And every topic needs a different approach. The approach which you are using for Indian heritage and culture, you should not use it for the modern history part. World history needs a different approach. So like that, every every subject needs a different approach. Okay. Alright, so moving on to the first area. So this is Indian heritage and culture. Okay, so here you can see that which all things are coming in this Indian heritage and culture. First one is art forms. You have the art form. So what all things are required in this art form? For example, we have different types of art forms are there. Dance is an art form. Music is an art form. Painting is coming. That's also an art form. So like that way, the basic things regarding this. Okay, so basically this dance, music, painting. So sometimes it will be overlapping with the ancient as well as the medieval history. Here you might be knowing that we don't have a separate topic like medieval Indian history, but still this is actually overlapping with the some of the areas of that. Okay, alright. So here also regional variations will be there. For example, dance itself, we have classical dances there, and also we have the folk dances also there. So folk dance, we have the regional variations will be there. So you have to have a brief idea regarding what is actually the regional variations and what are actually the classical dances. Even for music also it is there. And here in this case of paintings, it will be mostly overlapping with the medieval Indian history as well as the ancient Indian history. For example, medieval Indian history, if you take it, there will be Mughal paintings will be there, Rajput paintings will be there. So that is actually overlapping with the political history of the region also. Okay, alright. So that is required. And another one is the architecture. So architecture, if you take the architecture, we have to start from the Indus Valley civilization itself. Indus Valley civilization itself. So what happened in what were actually the architectural features? Obviously, Indus Valley is known for their town planning. So obviously, we'll have to start from the Indus Valley civilization itself. And maybe we can have a timeline also. Like what happened after that, like Vedic age is coming. So after that, the Mauryan age is coming. So what was actually the architectural features of this Mauryan age. So that also you have to understand. Again, you have to continue the timeline and you have to reach at a point where it is coming somewhere near the modern period, like the European style of architecture. All these things are correct. All these terms are given in the syllabus itself. So obviously you'll have to go with all these terms. Obviously for literature also the same thing. You can use the same approach we have used for the art forms. For example, the regional literature will be there, like Hindi will be there, Malayalam will be there, Tamil literature will be there, and also same like painting, this is also overlapping with the political history. For example, during the Mughal period, like many of these biographers of Akbar, they have written regarding what was actually the political structure of during the Mughal period, and so like that it's overlapping with the political period also. Okay, so like that, in that way also maybe you can create a timeline. Okay, so this is regarding something which is old. Again, this is something which is coming in the present. Even though we are studying history, this is something which is coming in the present only. Okay, so cultural institutions will be there. Cultural institutions means Archaeological Survey of India, maybe you can say it as a cultural institution. So like that way, important institution which are helping in preserving the Lalitha Academy will be there, helps in preserving these kind of art forms. All these things you have to study in these. Okay, so these are the things a student, an aspirant who is going to write the mains examination should focus. So these are the areas which we need to focus on. Okay, all right. Moving on to our next topic. So this is modern Indian history. Very, very important. Very, very, very important. Okay. Modern Indian history, the major chunk of the mains answers will be coming from the modern Indian history. Mains questions will be coming from the modern Indian history only. Minimum 25 and maybe even more than 25 you can expect in this from this modern Indian history, and maybe it will go beyond this also. So 50 marks, obviously it's a very major chunk in one exam, one paper like GS, one paper. Okay, all right. So here we have to start from the decline of Mughal Empire. Decline of Mughal Empire. Okay, so decline of Mughal Empire means another thing is also coming, the arrival of Europeans, advent of Europeans, advent of Europeans. Okay, from advent of Europeans to the rise of British power. Like after 1858, the British crown rule happened in India. So till 1947. Till 1947. Okay, so around the mid 18th century. Around the mid 18th century to 1947. So this is actually the timeline which we need to focus here. Okay, all right. So basically, how to study modern history, the basic thing which you need to understand is you need to have a chronological understanding. You need to have a chronological understanding. Chronological understanding means what happened first, what happened after that. So like that way you need to have a chronological understanding for this. So this is something which is basically needed for the studying modern history. Okay, all right. So role of leaders, again this is also very important topic, very topic which is from where we have got a lot of questions. For example, role of leaders means Gandhi will be coming, Nehru will be coming, Boss will be coming. So how questions will be coming, like what is actually the difference between the ideology of Gandhi and Nehru? Okay, how Ambedkar's view of on Dalits is differing from Gandhi's view on Dalits. So like that way questions will be, comparative questions will be coming from this role of the leader. I'm just giving an example only, maybe some other questions will also be coming. For example, even questions related to viceroys are also coming. For example, what was actually the contribution of Dalhousie? What was actually the contribution of Lord Curzon? So like that way also questions will be coming. So here you need to focus on the personalities and their achievements. Okay, personalities and their achievements here. Okay, another important thing is impact of British policies. British policies means what? Like administrative policies are coming. We have the administrative policies, and also we have the educational policies will be there. What were actually the policies on related to tribals? How the judicial system evolved during this period. So like that way, what all things Britishers has done. So here also you need to understand the impact of this British policies also. Again here also maybe some like personalities are coming, some timeline will be coming. So, but basically what you have to focus on is the analytical part. Irrespective, for prelims, it will be like the factual area. Like for example, in the last prelims also, you can see that many factual things regarding from history, like the terms and all is coming. Okay, Aragatta kind of terms and all is coming. So here you have to write the answer. So obviously you have to focus on the analytical part, but still some facts is also needed. You don't have to cram all the facts, but still these kind of things is also needed for you. Okay, all right. So like that way, impact of British policy is also very much important. Okay, so like that way, and how you can actually make a very good answer from this. Make sure that you know the important names. Make sure that you know the important dates. It's not just about analytical part, but include all this in your answers also. Okay, so like that way, you can make a very good answer from this. Okay. Alright, so modern history is a very most important part. I would say that the most important part of this GS1 paper itself, not just from history, but from the GS1 part paper itself. Okay, moving on to the next topic, that is post-independence India. So this is a topic where questions are very less. Very less. If you take the trend, you can see that questions were very few questions were only asked, and sometimes no questions were asked from this area also. So maybe if you are taking it like that, maybe you can give a less weightage to it. Don't need to go in depth regarding this, but even though it's a very interesting topic, but still you don't have to go in depth regarding this. Okay, so post-independence India. So where will we start the post-independence India? So we got independence in 1947. We got independence in 1947, and even still maybe 2025 can be included in this post-independence India. But still, you have to focus on this area. Okay, this area, and what happened after this 1947, and maybe like the reorganization of the states will becoming integration of princely state. What happened immediately after the independence? Okay, and also the initial days, the Prime Minister was Nehru. Like the policies of Nehru, like Panchsheel will be coming. Panchsheel policy, even tribal Panchsheel policy will be coming. Some foreign policies will be there. How Nehru focused on the infrastructure. Maybe comparative questions will also be there. What is actually the present policy compared with the Nehruvian policy, like the diplomacy and all. Earlier we were focusing on a defensive strategy. Now we are into more offensive strategy. So these kind of questions can also be asked in the UPSC mains examination. Okay, but still, this is a topic from which very few questions were only asked. Okay, so keep that in your mind. That doesn't mean that you have to skip this topic entirely, but still, while studying, no need to focus much on this. Your focus area should be this one, modern Indian history. Okay. All right, another important area. So this is world history. Obviously, here also questions will be comparatively less, but still, this is also something which will help you in your other papers also. For example, like GS2. International relations. World history is actually the basic of this international relations. So like that way, if you know all these things, it will help you. Maybe in your essay and all these things, it will be helping you. It starts with the Industrial Revolution. This has actually given some areas in which we need to focus on. So what happened in Industrial Revolution? Again, one question was there in previous mains examination, like the impact of Industrial Revolution in Britain. So like that way, questions were also there in this regarding this world history. Okay, so colonization and the opposite, decolonization. Okay, all this started with the World Wars. So after the World War One, what were the events that led to World War One? What were the events that led to World War Two? So how these imperial powers are coming, how imperialism started, how they started to colonize areas, for example, like in the, especially the South Asian region, and also maybe Africa and all. And later, after this 1947, maybe around this end of the World War II, how countries started to decolonize, what were actually the reasons for this decolonization. Even questions directly from decolonization were also asked. Okay, and also ideologies like communism. Ideas like communism, also like that way, like the Soviet Union, brief regarding the Soviet Union, all these things. Okay, and also after post-war, what retravel of maps, like the even after the Cold War, also what happened. So like that way, brief understanding regarding what is actually the world history. Okay, so these are the areas, these are the major areas which we need to focus on. Obviously, your major focus should be on modern Indian history and maybe art and culture also. But still, make sure that you are not skipping all this world history as well as a post-independence period. Okay. All right. Now let's see the trend of these questions which were asked from this examination. So the focus area is modern Indian history. So I've taken only modern history. Modern Indian history. Okay, so these were actually the questions which are asked in the modern Indian history. If you take the other areas, then obviously it will be even more questions will be there. Okay, so here you can see that 2023 two questions were asked, 25 marks, 12.5. So Gandhi and Tagore, what is actually the ideological difference between Gandhi and Tagore? Condition of tribals under the colonial. So like that way, importance of the leaders are coming in this area. Okay, so famines, British Army, consistent success, constructive programs of the. So this is 2021 three questions were asked. So this is regarding the Gandhian politics as the Congress politics. Okay, international Congress politics, moderates, constructive programs, and also another important area is the socio-cultural reform movement. So that's also like Raja Ram Mohan Roy. These questions will also be asked. Okay, and also contributions of people like told right 2020 question on Viceroy, Lord Curzon was also asked. Okay, so like that way questions will be there. And if you observe this trend, you can see that Gandhian politics is something which is very much important. Gandhian politics is very much important from the UPSC point of view. So focus on the area from 1915 when Gandhi came to India. Gandhi came to India till maybe the very important phase of Gandhi, like the Quit India movement. You have to be very focused on the Gandhian politics. Gandhian politics, not all the events, but still the Gandhian politics you have to focus on. Okay. And also some events as well as their impact. For example, what was impact of the naval mutiny? What was impact of the naval mutiny? And maybe something related to partition kind of things can also be. So like that way. And also another important thing which you have to focus on is if some current relevance related to this is happening, then focus on that also. For example, if the anniversary of Komagata Maru incident, I'm not saying that this year it is Komagata Maru's anniversary, but still if that kind of an anniversary or maybe anniversary of some tribal movement is coming in this year, focus on that particular tribal movement. Okay, so these kind of way also you have to refine your preparations. Okay, all right. So this is actually the trend of how questions were asked in the prelims examination. Sorry, mains examination. Okay, all right. So we'll see a question. We'll discuss this question. How you have to approach this question. Okay, all right. So this was asked in 2021, 250 words question. To what extent did the role of moderates prepare a base for the wider freedom movement? To what extent did the role of moderates prepare a base for the wider freedom movement? Okay, so how we have to analyze this question. So first we have to understand what is actually the topic. Okay, so what's actually the topic? It's here you can see that it's moderates. Okay, so moderates is coming in the early phase of Indian nationalism. That is in like before 1905. Okay, 1885 to 1905. The early Congress phase we called as a moderators. Now we understood what is actually the timeline. So where we can actually keep this question, that we clearly understood. Okay, now what is asked here? To what extent did the role of moderates prepare a base for the wider freedom movement? Okay, so here the question is to what extent. So to what extent means here your opinion is needed. Your opinion is needed. Okay, maybe you can say that it was very helpful, maybe you can say that it is not at all helpful also, but still always maintain a balance between both. Don't write these extremes. That's my personal suggestion. But okay, so you have to give your opinion. To what extent did the role of moderates prepare a base? Okay, so how you have to approach this answer? Again, one more thing, these kind of questions were also like the role of Gandhi, the role of moderates, the role of extremists, role of Subhash Chandra Bose, role of INA, these kind of questions. UPSC keeps on asking these kind of questions. If you take the previous trend, you can understand that. Again, there also you have to give your opinion. Okay, so that is very important. Okay, all right. So now we got the timeline. Where is the timeline? We actually got the timeline. Okay, so now we need to understand to what extent did the role of moderates prepare a base for wider freedom movement. So here we have to understand both sides, positives as well as negatives. So positive will be like what are the contributions of the moderates? What were actually the contributions of the moderates? Okay, we cannot say that they didn't do anything. What are the contributions of the moderates? Like they gave an initial platform. Something which was very scattered. The movement was very scattered against this fight against the Britishers. So they gave a unified platform, all India platform. And also they give a organizational structure, how we have to organize this thing. So like that way, they did. And also, this is actually the first initiative to approach the Britishers. We have to approach the Britishers and like earlier we were not connected with the Britishers. Our demands, the common people's demands were not known to the Britishers. So they give a interlink between the people as well as the Britishers. So like that way you have to write. I'm not discussing every point in detail. I'm just giving you the approach only. Okay. So like that way you can give the contributions. What are the positive contributions of this moderate? So like that you can write it, but still to what extent, that is it. So you have to analyze it. So here you have to write the negatives also. So what were the limitations? What were the limitations of these moderates? Okay, so limitations means what? Limitations means like they completely believed the Britishers. They thought that Britishers will be giving us freedom, or maybe they will be giving us concessions. Okay, so what we wanted was freedom, but they have not reached to that extent. They said that what we will be getting some concessions, and we are okay with that. So that was one of the limitations. They blindly believed the Britishers. So this is a limitation of this moderates. Okay, so like that way. So you have to analyze both these things. So you have to understand which one is having an upper hand. If you think the contributions are more, then you can focus at okay, the contributions are more and they give a that kind of thing. If you think the negatives are more, then you can opt for that thing only. Okay, but what I'll do is I'll take a balance side. I'll lean mostly towards this positive, and we'll write these limitations also in the conclusion. I'll be writing both these things. Okay, and in the conclusion. So I'll show you how you have to write it. So introduction will be what is this moderates? Okay, so introduction will be define the moderates. You know whether this term can be used, but define the moderates. Like what is actually the timeline? What is actually the origin? Like timeline. So like that way, give a brief definition of this moderates. What is actually introduce the moderate phase of this international movement. Okay, so after that in the body, what you have to do is you have to write both sides. Okay, first I'll go with the contribution. My suggestion is don't write the limitations first. First write the positives only. Okay, so what are the contributions of the moderates? What are the contributions of the moderates? So write these contributions, like some of the points I've already mentioned. So after that write the limitations. After that write the limitations. Okay, so first part of the body is over. So after that, what is asked here? How did the role of moderates prepare a base for the wider freedom movement? Okay, so how they prepared? Okay, so you have to connect it with this. You have to connect with the positives. Okay, for example, I say that the organizational structure. So earlier they were not the organization, they were not having a proper structure. So they give an organization structure, and also the connection with the Britishers. So all these things helped, whether it be the extremists or whether it be even for the revolutionaries also, to have this connection between the people as well as the Britishers. Okay, so this was actually given by the moderates. So in that extent, I would say that they helped us to prepare a base for the wider freedom movement. In another way also we can say that the opposite way also. For example, they were not much, the limitations showed that we need to have a better mass participation. So in that way also they prepared the extremist. That way also we can write, but still it's up to you only. I might, if I'm writing, I'll focus on this area only. I'm just giving another perspective of that. Okay, finally in the conclusion, what you can write? In the conclusion, it's completely up to you what you have to write. But in the conclusion, what I'll be writing that they helped us to give a wider freedom, the base for a wider freedom movement, but still they were not able to fulfill what was actually guaranteed to the people. So like that way, I'll focus on the positives, but I'll just mention this negative also. Like that way, I'll be concluding this one. Okay, so this is how I'll be framing my answer. Okay, all right. So we'll come up with more such questions in this PYQ analysis. We'll be taking all this topics like art and culture will be taken, the world history will be taken, post-independence India also will be discussing, and also modern history also will be discussing in detail. And also we'll be having a very capsule session on this entire GS history will also be provided, so that we can easily cover within a very short span of time itself. You can easily cover this history section of this mains. Okay, GS1 mains. Okay, all right. So that's it for today. Thank you.